All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Collapsing with Casey, episode number 5. We've got through 4 episodes, and the CIA and hasn't busted down my doors. The world hasn't ended yet, but we continue to collapse closer and closer to either one or all of those events. I got with me today Joe Black. Joe has been following collapse and climate, and we met through Facebook and near-term human extinction, and of course, all that goes back to Guy McPherson, who is the lead informant on uh, abrupt, irreversible climate change leading to near-term human extinction. And a big part of extinction, obviously, is economic collapse. And I reached out to Joe, and Joe reached back to me from across the pond. Of course, it wasn't a touch reach, because you're quite a ways away across a big pond from where I'm at in Atlanta, Georgia. So, Joe, great to have you with us today, and I want to hear a little bit about how you found out about what's going on, what led you to you're finding out all this information, and tell me about just
Okay.
just kind of retiring and being able to get a motorcycle and just say, you know what, I'm going to hit the countryside and ride my bike and tour and enjoy the last days, months, weeks, year or years that we have left. I think that's
Yeah,
wonderful. That's so cool.
yeah. That was not an easy decision to make, although maybe it was. I made a decision to drive my bike when that was 2019, July 2019, or actually, that was when I really started driving. I made a decision before that already, so it took me about 2 months of planning, and then I started driving. The reason why I started driving was that I learned from abrupt, irreversible climate change in 2017 from previously noted Guy McPherson. I saw just one clip of him where he explained that there will be no humans left on Earth after 2026. It was a television interview. And I thought that was a very bold statement because you didn't hear anything on the news or in the newspapers, or you didn't hear anything about it. It was constantly like, yeah, we still have until 2100 and blah blah blah. So I started doing my own research, and I started following the links that Guy McPherson also put on the Arctic Block news. The Arctic Block from Sam Carana. I started learning more people who are also busy with climate change, and I only got more and more depressed from all the news, because the only thing I was doing with my life was wake up, eat, take a shower, go to work, come back, eat, sleep, repeat. And in my opinion, that's not a life. And that just kept me going, or that it kept me down, and it made me depressed more and more and more. So around 2018, the end of 2018, I started to search for psychologists, psychiatrists, talk groups, this kind of things. None of them were anywhere near-term human extinction. They didn't grasp it. They didn't understand it. They were just like, well, try to make something of your life. And so eventually in 2019, around March, I believe, I decided these groups, these psychiatrists, psychologists, they cannot help me. They have
Right.
absolutely no idea. They have absolutely no idea what's going on. And the only person that can help me is myself, because all the other people, they just continue in the same flow. Like, you know what, you can get happy, just find a good job, pay for your house, pay for your bills, pay everything that you want, and go to work so you can keep paying this stuff. And that was exactly the drag that was keeping me down. So then in 2019, July 2019, I decided just to leave. I literally went missing for about 2 months.
Wow.
I didn't
Missing,
tell.
like,
Yes, I didn't tell my.
family?
What?
When you say missing, family, nobody knew where you were, or what?
Nobody knew. I told nobody. I just picked my bike, stuffed my suitcases, and started driving.
Did anybody send the federales for you? Were the police looking for you or anything, or
Yes. They were, but they have had absolutely no clue where I was, because I didn't have anything from telephone or computer or laptop with me. So I did not have any GPS devices with me.
oh wow. So, like, what about gassing up your bike and eating and accommodations, spending the night, sleeping?
Yeah.
What How did all that go down where you weren't traceable?
I took a tent with me, and I just started driving. And when I found a camping, I just stood there maybe 2 or 3 days, and then I continued driving again. So
Wow.
it's probably that was the start of the biggest adventure in my life.
So how did it come to, so you're 2 months in, nobody has seen or heard from you, people are looking for you. How does that period end where you are now accounted for? How does that go down?
Well, accounted for, I live in the middle also, because now the people I know and that I trust know approximately where I am. Not exactly, but approximately where I am. And I like to keep it that way, because I'm really seriously sick of this entire economy. I'm really done with it. I have absolutely no need to be put back into the matrix.
Yeah, it's all really fake, isn't it?
It is completely fake. It's the worst show in my life.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how people believe. Like, I love, there's a quote from Guy, and roughly paraphrasing, about, if you think um the economy is more important, than nature, holding your breath while you count your money.
Yeah,
um and that's where it seems like we're kind of rounding that corner now, where the the economy is crashing, collapsing worldwide, globally, as well as 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 the planet, the health of the planet. We're seeing the ice almost completely melted in the Arctic. uh, this summer we barely escaped a blue ocean event, which we call BOE. um, the you know the methane seems like it's just getting released, um,
I was
which is,
knowing.
yeah, and it's all so many feedback loops. Like, I can't even keep up with all the self-reinforcing feedback loops that have been unlocked and are in full swing. Just perpetual motion is
Yeah.
just really, really getting some steam behind it. So, what um, what are what are your plans? From here on out. How are you dealing with that now? Are you kind of in one spot right now, where being that it's winter time for you guys, or have you kind of
Yeah.
parked the bike a little bit?
Yeah. I was lucky that I found a person that had a lot of rooms in his house, So I currently am in an apartment with my own kitchen, my own bathroom, bedroom, clothing room. I got basically everything that I usually have in one house.
Oh, that's awesome.
As long as the winters just keeps going, I'll just probably stay around here.
And it looks like we're probably going to cook this coming summer. Are you going to be able to get back on your bike and travel a bit, or
Probably when we're going to cook, I'm going to look it up.
you're going to what now?
Look it up. I understand what's going on with our economy, with our planet. If we have 2 years left on this planet, it will be great. But these 2 years, they're going to get worse and worse and worse. And I really don't feel like living through all that hell that is coming towards us right now. So if I notice that there is a wet bulb somewhere in the vicinity here, I'll seek it up. I'll just enjoy it with a cigarette in my motor suit and enjoy the sun.
You're just going to go out, kind of lay out in the sun with a cigarette and cook yourself, huh? That scares me because, you know, I've been miserably hot before, you know. Imagine like you know, getting in your car on a hot summer day with the windows rolled up and you go, no, I'm not going to start the car. I'm not going to turn on the air. I'm just going to sit here and let it kill me. That seems so painful and, you know, miserable.
No, it's not. I read what it's going to do when you're going to be hit by a wet bulb. Of course, it's going to get very hot.
Yeah.
But eventually you will start to get light in your head. When you will have a conversation, the conversation will start to deteriorate. It will become less understandable for the person who's listening. Eventually you lose consciousness and you will not wake up. So it sounds like you're going to get somewhat high and you get an overdose.
That sounds like it could take you know, a few days you know, or kind of drag out a little bit, and I worry about that. I've been looking at different gases, uh, you know, argon, nitrous oxide, um, couple of those kind of things, but it's fuck, you know, like a friend of mine that I talk to usually a couple times a week. You know, we just talk about what a fucked up situation that we're all in, you know, and most people aren't even aware of this and what's coming and how soon it's coming. And because they just don't understand for whatever reason. It's not really that difficult of science. I'm not a scientist myself, but it's pretty simple to understand when you look at the facts and the science behind it. You know, and wet bulb is a very easy term to look up. Kevin Hester's written really good stuff about it, as Guy has as well. Yeah, that's why we kind of, you know, it's fucking really weird to this is what we talk about. This is what we, you know, this is our future, our very near term future.
Yeah.
You know, possibly this summer, spring, summer. You know, you know, and one thing that Kevin Hester brings up a lot too, which he makes a good point in, that they could fire off the nukes and cool down the northern hemisphere, create nuclear winter, and you know, fuck, man, I don't want to see that happen in my lifetime. You know, and while I'm alive, while I'm here, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a witness to that. You know, I'm hoping that I'm close enough to Atlanta that if that happens, if that's the plan, if I'm close enough to Atlanta, Atlanta should be a target, and maybe it'll, blink of an eye, I'll be stardust. I don't know.
Yep.
That's it's so. Do you find it hard to sleep at night and stuff? Like, how do you deal? Um, and are there things that you can still do to kind of get your mind off of this stuff? It's it's fucking really weird knowing that basically we all have terminal cancer. It's one thing to one person individually. But this is all fucking life on Earth, every fucking species.
Yep. Yeah, I can sleep on it. I have accepted it. I have accepted a lot of things because I hear a lot of solutions also to our economy, to global warming, and the most favorite one of mine is still the Venus Project or a resource-based economy. And also that I know it's not going to happen anymore because so far it's still talk. And yes, the resource-based economy is already in a far stadium, but to get it working, you have to get through our current economy, and our current economy does not want to change. So there's going to be more and more talking, and every day we're going to talk, we're getting closer to our doom. It's not going to get better.
Right.
So I accept it's already it's not going to change. Or at least not for the better. And I also know that the most people think that we live in a democracy. So from that point of view, most people have chosen for this. If you vote, you chose for this. If you work, you vote for this. If you have a bank account, you vote for this. Because that's all it takes to keep the economy running.
Yeah, like you were saying, like we were talking earlier, it's all fake. Money obviously is just, it's not even worth the goddamn piece of paper it's printed on. You cannot take, the value of a tree, oxygen, water, clean water, and turn that into money. That's not a real thing. Air, clean air, uh, water, and plants, healthy crops are real. That's what we require. And without, like I says, habitat, without a habitat, we get none of that. We lose it all.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. So you said you came across this knowledge in 2017. Did you already
Yeah.
kind of know, though, I mean, to be able to come up when you come across the real facts, you already kind of have to in order to understand, accept, and see that this is real, you
Yeah.
kind of already have to be on that mindset too, I think.
Yeah.
So can you give me
Yes.
some examples of kind of your past history, how you were able to, see the writing on the wall, find the facts, and kind of deal with that?
Well, that was not very difficult. It already started when I was a kid. And as a kid, I, of course, listened to the teachers at school. And I believe it was in the fourth grade or the third grade that the teacher told me that we were already cutting down rainforest at the speed of one football field a day. And already then, I felt something like, but that cannot go that cannot go on forever. I'm now 48 years old. In the meantime, we have already improved ourselves, so we're not cutting one but 6 football fields a day. And we've reached the threshold. And so basically, if you, because I already learned that when I was a little kid, when I was 16 years old, my dad told me, you know what, you don't studying, you go to work. So I had the most shitty jobs that I can probably imagine. And then I was already starting to become interested in what is it actually that forces me into a place that I rather not be. And it took me over many roads. I've seen very much conspiracy theories. I've seen the Lizard Man. I've seen the Illuminati pass by. The weirdest shit that people think of to point the finger at something that does not exist just to make them feel better. But it was in 2008 when I saw the movie Zeitgeist, the second one, Zeitgeist Addendum. And when I saw that movie, and also got, of course, the answer to the resource-based economy, but when I saw that movie, everything fell in place. I suddenly started to understand how everything was working, why it was working like this, and how corrupt and bad it is for humans and society and environment all at once.
Yeah, and the entire planet. Um, yeah, I loved how Peter Joseph did like a trilogy of those, and I loved how he started it off with religion and kind of connected all the different religions into how they're basically the same story. Made total sense because I've always I've always thought religion was just dumb. It's just a lie. Like, the whole Santa Claus, uh, Noah's Ark, all that stuff is just, you have to be a fucking idiot to think that and then base your entire life off of that bullshit. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, but
And
then,
most of our scientists are religious. The fuck? There's no science in that. That's
yeah,
what,
but
that's what I fucking loved about the first interview I heard with Guy is he was, um, anarchist. He's agnostic, and um, I was like, well, that's what a fucking scientist should be. So of
it's
course,
I can pretty much relate with his words. I'm anarchist and the other one also, but basically money is also a religion,
yeah, it's got God written on every fucking one of them.
and it's the biggest religion on earth, and everybody believes in it. It's even so deeply ingrained in people that it is impossible for people to not think about money. If you go to a birthday party or a clubhouse or something, people always value their stuff by money.
Yeah,
Always, how much does it cost? And yeah, but you still need money. And if I'm going to explain them about a resource-based economy, then the first thing that they grab to is, well, but somebody has to pay for that. No, just drop the religion. It's that easy.
yeah, yeah. It's how do you kind of deal with because you're obviously surrounded, you're alive, so therefore you're surrounded by everyone who does not see and understand that, and they think people like us are fucking crazy or weird or stupid, because we don't operate like that. We see through, the matrix.
Yeah.
How do you kind of, get through your day and get through your life with, how do you find kind of your path to to continue on?
Well, basically, I do not have that much social contacts right now. So I praise myself lucky for that. But usually when I when I do meet somebody on the street or in a restaurant, or the conversation starts, usually the conversations are very short because there's a lot of garbage coming out of the other person's mouth, because I'm not a person that likes small talk. It's one of the things that I just can't bear. Hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Well, that was a very good conversation again.
Learned a lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot. And also, when I started to open my mouth about the things that are bothering me, which is the economy, the society, and of course, our near demise, people are not that interested.
Right. Yeah, it's like I I say that I feel like I'm invisible when I have to go out and leave my house. I'm invisible. That way,
Yeah,
I don't rock the boat, and I kind of can blend in and get my groceries, or if I'm working a job, I can hopefully not piss anybody off, but in the same time, I'm fed a bunch of bullshit, and I'm trying not to snap on them because they're morons. But I need the job, I need the money to pay my bills, so I keep my house, which
yeah.
I don't. I mean, that's coming to an end because even there,
But
as we know soon, there won't really even be any money, and if you still have money, it won't be worth the paper that it's printed on.
yeah, nothing. I did I've seen several documentaries and research I've done around money itself. Basically, money started around 360 before Christ. It were the Egyptians that started the money flow, because before that time, everybody was trading. So you get 1 cow for 50 chickens, for example.
One cow
But
for what now?
50 chickens.
Oh, okay. That seems fair.
But yeah, maybe. But some people thought it was not fair because the cow looked bad or the chickens looked bad, so they needed to
Oh,
put
right.
extra chicken or maybe an extra cow, or so it became a little bit problematic to trade. So then the Egyptians thought it was a very good idea to use gold to exchange for goods. And that also gave a little bit of a problem because the person came with a cow and then he said, yeah, I need a gold nugget for my cow. And then the Egyptian, he gave him a gold nugget, and then the guy said, yeah, but this is a little bit too small of a gold nugget. I need at least this much gram or this much kilogram for my cow. So it was still not really workable. And that's when the Egyptians started to make coins of gold. And the coins, they were all the same size, the same weight. So we could make good agreements on how much a cow would cost. Like it's going to cost 1 gold shilling or whatever they used in that time. Unfortunately, the Turkish, after the gold started to spread around the world, the Turkish knew how to, that they actually were the first people who invented inflation, because the Turkish government at that moment, or the Tsar, or whoever was there, wanted to buy a big army. And he needed gold, but he had too little gold. So what he did was he grabbed all the gold, melted it, grabbed a bunch of copper, melted that also, and merged it. So he suddenly had a bigger supply of money, but it was worth less because it was less gold. But he could afford his army at that moment. So that's when the problems started to arise about money. And through the years, there have been numerous monetary systems all over the world. And each and every monetary system has failed. Every single monetary system has collapsed sooner or later. The last one that we know of was in 1971. It was established in 1945, if I'm not mistaken, by the IMF. It was called the Bretton Woods system. And what they did there was they connected the money supply to gold once again. So, for example, $1 bill or one gold bar was $100 bills, and that could not change. And between 1945 and 1971, we had a very stable economy, basically. There were still problems, but in general, it was a very stable economy, especially compared to what we have now. Then in 1971, the United States decided, we're not going to do that anymore because we're going to go for eternal growth, profit. So they said, we're not going to use that. And that resulted in the monetary system that we currently have. And this one, also again, 40 years later, which is approximately the time span of a monetary system, is on the brink of collapsing. Because money, the value of money is decided by the amount of money that is circulating.
Right, it's no longer backed up by gold.
No,
It's done enough
totally
gold to
not
back
backed.
it up.
So the amount of money decides what the money is worth.
Yeah.
And the printing press has been rattling already for the past 4 years, if it's not longer already. So money devalues at a rapid pace. So there's lots of bubbles everywhere in our economy. And it's only a matter of time before each and every one of them says pop. And when one says pop, then they pop all.
Yeah, like popcorn. Just it's gonna be
Yep.
and it looks like they've been starting to do that in a lot of places. I'm blown away seeing the cities. I've seen major cities that are locked down, that are boarded up. Windows are boarded up and desolate. No people, no traffic. Maybe a walker or a bicyclist or 4 cars maybe drive by once in a while. It's so bizarre to this collapse, and it just I guess maybe starting in the cities, especially particular ones worldwide, even in America, and going just kind of spreading out to the suburbs slowly right now. It's a really fucking eerie to watch that happening right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from cities as much as possible.
Yeah, that's the goal, I think, is to, if you're in the city and you can, to get out, because that's when it's full on collapse happens, which we're already seeing the beginning of that. There's going to be so many desperate people that if you're there, they're going to come.
I think we're already in an approved or further stage of collapse. We're not only seeing the beginning; we've already passed that one.
Right. No, I would totally agree. Yeah, it's fascinating, mind-boggling to watch. I mean, you can just be riding your bicycle and get popped off your bicycle and get mugged. Easier now than ever before. Not that it wasn't happening 20 years ago, 40 years ago, but it's so much more predominant nowadays, and just it's
Yeah, but it's a perfect storm at this moment. We, especially America, has seen more tornadoes, I believe, than any previous year recorded. The Philippines have been hit hardest by the worst tornado only a month ago. I saw that bananas, already 50% of bananas harvest has gone to waste because of bad weather. And this is not going to get better. It just, we were seeing this for the last 5 years, that even media is finally paying attention to it. Like, oh, it's even worse than the year before. And economy-wise, our entire economy is based on scarcity, which means that the scarcer a product becomes, the more it will cost to buy it.
Right.
So our food supply is dwindling down at the moment.
Right. And the
When,
prices, we're just going to
yes,
prices skyrocket.
from what I heard, in America, that's already happening.
Yes.
Here in Europe, I don't see it, not yet, but it's only a matter of time, because it's not an isolated problem. It's a global problem. So when the food shortages truly start to kick in and hit the economy, that's probably the sign when everything is going to tumble down. When reality meets religion.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, it feels like we could see that as soon as tomorrow. You know, like
Any moment.
Like we were talking about earlier, you know, as long as they can try to keep things propped up, you know, and something I learned from Guy recently that I don't think very many people know about is the purge protection team, plunge protection team.
Mhm.
Yeah, plunge protection team. And that's where it's like a separate account to keep the stock market propped up. And it would be interesting to know more about the plunge protection team, where they're at financially. When that runs out, then they can no longer prop up the fake stock market here in the States. And being that we're the empire of the world right now, the United States, when that collapses, I think that's really game over for all economies, basically. And then grocery stores have what, about 3 days worth of food typically. So you when that happens, you'll have grocery stores still hopefully maybe for 3 more days, and that'll be it forever. And the trucks will stop. There'll be no gas. There will be no transportation. Uh, your lights will go out. Your internet will go off. The 450 plus nuclear power plants worldwide will melt down because those guys aren't going to go to work for nothing. And if there's no food at the store, then money is useless, as we know it already is. But it will become truly useless, and everybody will be home for a few days, and then we'll watch it. We're talking about storms too. We've been seeing storms come through the Gulf and up through Louisiana almost on a weekly basis. It's just like one right after the other. And there's one or two down in there in the Caribbean, down there right now. I saw recently one off the coast of Canada below Alaska. That looks like a big one forming. And of course, we talked about the ice earlier, and the melting ice is releasing the methane coming out of and methane is anywhere from 80 to 100 or more times hotter and more potent than carbon dioxide, as heat of a greenhouse gas producing heat.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just seeing the global average temperature rise up. Sam Carana talks about REC as possibly human extinction, the beginning of human extinction, and we crossed 2C, even though the IPCC and nobody wants to admit that we crossed 2C already. We did that in March, back when there was still a decent amount of ice in the Arctic. And now, we saw 100-degree temperature in June in the Arctic.
Fahrenheit.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is just mind-blowing. mind-blowing.
But I asked this question also on to Guy on one of our Zoom meetings, like how big is the possibility that we have already passed the 3 degrees Celsius? And there is a very good possibility that we have already passed the 3 degrees Celsius.
See, that's what I worry about, and I've wondered that as well.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere where most of the news I read nowadays on Facebook is temperatures are 10 degrees Celsius higher than usual all over.
Yeah, I saw Siberia was recently read Siberia was 5°C over average.
Yeah, Italy was also very soft weather. Like I said, I'm now in Hungary. I still see no snow. It's everywhere. It's already very hot, and that's only going to get worse. It's an accelerating process. So
Yeah,
if we already passed the 3 degrees Celsius, that would not be really a surprise for me. But I
right.
think the IPCC is very funny because they really know how to juggle with the numbers, because the original baseline is in 1750 when
Right.
the Industrial Revolution started, and the IPCC says, well, we're going to use the 1880 baseline because that's when we started recording. So they just left out 100 years of global warming, and then they say like, oh, we're touching the 2 degrees Celsius. Well, then we're going to use the 1990 baseline. So they just shove the baseline up every time again, and it's, I can't really take them really serious.
It's like the IPCC is like the Weekend at Bernie's, just being propped up. Hey, we're still alive.
Yeah, something like that.
It's, and I've seen a lot of all this kind of new hope of carbon capture. People think that we're going to carbon capture, and that's now been, I mean, we always knew that was bullshit, but even the Guardian is now saying, yeah, it's really not working. We're going to have to try harder, build more carbon capture, and it doesn't work, and that's what people live on hope, and they think that this stuff is going to work. We can't do anything. All governments are good at is bombing, enslaving, destroying,
And
lying, talking. um, it's really fascinating to watch, and it's just as fascinating to watch everyone around us not get it and think that everything's normal. Oh, this is normal, oh yeah, fires happen every year, floods happen every year.
I can imagine why people do that, because I grew up in 1972, or was born in 1972. The first thing that I learned at school was something that my teacher repeatedly explained to me. You're not doing it for me, you're doing it for yourself. So there's a certain ego aspect coming from that point of view. And as soon as you're going to work and you're going to earn your own religion, then your ego becomes even bigger attached to yourself, because you're working for yourself and not for somebody else. Of course, you can, donate some money to some nice charity, and that will relieve your ego a little bit and makes you a good person a little bit more. But I've also seen, especially from, I think, the late 80s, that there were so many stories about how the Earth is going to come to an end. We've seen, for example, the 2012, the Maya calendar, when they said that the world's coming to an end, and most people were like, "Oh, it's going to be horrible," and nothing happened. I think that the Mayans were wrong, and they needed to put it in 2021. But just a small calculation error.
They were
We've
pretty
seen also.
close.
It
Yeah,
was very close. Yeah, I think for a very old civilization, they did a very good job. Yeah,
like
but also we've seen the Millennium Bug, which should shut down the entire economy. People have been bombarded with end of the world stories that at this moment, anything you say that is going to tell you that we're coming to an end, it's by being neglected. Like, yeah, sure. I even had it at my work when somebody said, like, yeah, there's an asteroid coming to me and or coming to Earth, and that's going to wipe out all the humans. So he showed me the article, and I already saw something about the Bible, and it was like, no, it's not going to happen. Don't worry. Yeah, why not? So,
yeah, that
but
people don't understand science. They
no, and this is also something what you mentioned earlier. Hope. People like to hope, and this is something it's not based on anything but wishful thinking.
Mhm.
Because if I'm going to take Guy McPherson, for example, I can hope he's wrong, but then what is my assumption based on? Just wishful thinking. I
Yeah,
can also have faith that he is right, because I can have hope that he is right, but that sounds a little bit awkward. But so hope, it's another thing that just pops in your mind and makes you feel good. Another thingy which I throw in the category of religion.
yeah, exactly. Yep. It is, hope is very religious. Wishful thinking is very religious. I hope that Santa Claus will come down my chimney and bring me some presents, pay my mortgage for another month, come, about almost another 30 days from now. I don't have a fucking chimney, so that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Even if I had a chimney, damn it, I still don't think it's gonna happen. Shit. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. So this is also what I notice a lot of times with people, because I really wish somebody would come up to me and say, you're absolutely wrong, and then truly shows me evidence that I am wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody does. Most
Yeah.
people say, no, we still have 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. Our children will solve the problem, something that we've been saying for years, for decades now. And
I love the chest beater mentality. My generation's got this. Stand down. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah, well, my motto at the moment is basically every single day that I live is the best day of my life.
That's beautiful.
I have absolutely no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. It can suddenly stop tomorrow. It can be over with the flip of a coin. And it's really not going to happen in 10 years.
Right. Yeah. What is it? And I think the 2026 projection, I think, just scientific peer-reviewed journals show that we're going to be probably or I think like 5C or maybe even 10C. I mean, at that point the oceans will evaporate. Like, people don't have no idea um, of the rate of change, and because of the feedback loops, self-reinforcing feedback loops, it's just going to go exponential. And in a few years from now, the oceans, if they're not already evaporated, they will be well into that process. I think from talking to Sam Piranha, he's on the he's kind of on the Venus spectrum. I think Guy's a little more on the Mars spectrum, and that's 2026-ish. There's either way, Venus or Mars, there is no way that humans or very many or any other microorganisms are going to exist in that kind of a climate.
No,
Um,
especially now with the 450 nuclear reactors that we've already planted carefully all over the world.
right. Yeah, it's crazy that people still think that, well, there'll be pockets. There'll be a pocket here and there, and and then the 1% in the bunkers. Um, you know, I think the bunkers are there's probably some really nice bunkers out there.
Probably.
But like Guy says, who who wants to live in a bunker? Like I spent 30 days at sea and went crazy. Literally.
Mhm.
I still had, outside air, sunshine. I was mostly below deck, but I could still get to the above deck and go outside and see no land, just fucking waves and vomit because I was seasick all the time. But at least there was that.
Yeah,
Um,
but these people who are going to the bunker, they have money.
yeah, they
They're
can,
not keeping going.
they can, maybe they'll find some earthworms and pay the earthworms to keep
Yeah.
fertilizing the dirt so they can keep, growing light bulbs, UVB bulbs to uh, grow crops and oh,
But even
it's
even even in the bunker, I wouldn't like to end up at all because
yeah,
we're
yeah,
we're, we're looking at a devastating effect to the world, and I really have no idea how devastating that is going to be. But I can only assume it's going to be worse than I already have in mind.
right, yeah,
And already in Africa, they noticed that Africa is breaking apart because the tectonic plates are shifting. So we're getting a new continent. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that one. But only considering this, if you are stuck in a bunker, you're locked up in a little concrete box inside the earth. You just have to get one tectonic plate that thinks like, I'm going north now, and you're just a little fly on the wall.
yeah, yeah. They're not going to last very long. You know, even if they last long enough to where they have to turn on the oxygen machines to make their own oxygen, those machines are
Yeah.
going to wear out. They're going to need parts, and they can
And they
have
need electricity.
multiple backup, um, machines to steal parts from, share parts, and keep at least one, machine running. But eventually, that machine is going to wear out too, and all those parts. So it's just, yeah, they're not going to last long. I don't think. I think the 1% bunker elite fucks will still be dead in. They might last months. They might last a year. I don't think they'll last multiple years at best beyond two. These are narcissist people that um, won't- they won't be able to get along together. For one,
Narcissistic and sociopathic.
yeah, yeah, man. So your plan is to just basically lay out in the hot sun and
Yep.
have a cigarette or a pack or a carton, however long it takes,
Yeah.
and just kind of cook. And I love that. I love that because it's natural for one. Um, it's you're just and I really do think that I look at it like we're all just kind of waiting to become stardust anyway. We're all in that transition period, which is fucking weird. But I mean, it is what it is.
We created it ourselves. That's the worst part. And the sad part is when I learned about the resource-based economy, I think if we would have started it then in 2008 or 2010 even, we still could have had a small chance. We've
What?
passed that window already
Yeah.
far. And when I talk to people about the resource-based economy, that there would be no money, that they do not have to go to work anymore. And I hear so often like, that's not going to happen. Or, yeah, well, that's a utopia. So you already settled in with the idea. They cannot grasp the idea that it is completely destructive what we are in right now, but it is what it is. Oh, that was Trump. But it's really weird that one of the things that surprised me so much, or not really surprised me, what I found out is that our entire economy is a problem economy. It's not based on solutions. We do not create solutions.
Yeah.
Because solutions don't bring money on the table. So there has to be a problem, because if you have a problem, we can hire people that can, within limits, solve that problem. And I say within limits because they are not being paid to solve the problem, because they have to throw money at it and they have to talk about it a lot. And then they have to figure out if there is a solution that makes profit out of it as well. So then we're already half a year later, and then the plan is going to be implemented, and we have another branch of the economy that is working fine, but the problem itself is not solved. One of the craziest things that I came to realize is all the problems in our world, literally every problem in our world, take crime, take war, take poverty, take starvation, every problem is created by money.
Yes.
And we're going to try to solve it with money.
Yes.
I think it was Einstein who said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mindset that has created the problem.
Yes. Brilliant. So true, man. So true.
And it's impossible with our current economy to solve any issue. We just keep on pedaling around in a little boat on a lake, just one pedal. So we keep going in circles, and we're really getting nowhere. Our technology evolves faster than humans.
Yeah, I'm almost glad that it's over, because the technology that's, the next thing that we're really going to see, if we were going to if we did have an environment to keep us going farther, is the AI shit. That is freaky as hell. And it's almost it really is, in a way, a good thing that it's over.
Well, there's in my opinion, two sides to AI. I've already looked at AI. AI is basically like a small child that has just been grown. It matters what you feed it on information. I have seen AI drones that were created for the military. They can spot a terrorist just by looking at his face and can eliminate it at sight instantly.
Yeah.
And also without failure, apparently. That's the economic side, again, that we're going to use to create something new. Instead, that we're going to use AI to learn how we can better ourselves. So once again, it's all based on the monetary system. I even heard some weird politicians talking eventually about the automation of the industry, and they were thinking like, yeah, okay, so how much should we tax these robots if they're going to work 24 hours? It's like, can you just drop it?
Yeah.
It's not working. As long as money is around, nothing is going to change.
Right. Oh yeah. Yep. We're doomed. There's no way.
Yeah.
No other way around that, unfortunately.
Even if they started to building a resource-based economy tomorrow, which would be really nice for me to see, but I still
Yeah.
don't think that's going to make any difference
Right.
at this point. We are already so far in over our head with the methane that's spewing into our atmosphere, the ice that is completely gone. Very likely next year it's going to melt completely, if it's going to refreeze at all, because I still haven't heard that it's refreezing again. So for me, 2020 was just an appetizer, and
Right.
the main dish is going to come in 2021.
Yeah, I fully agree, man. I fully agree, and I'm trying to go with the mindset of, we might make it to 2022. We might get through another spring and summer. I don't see how. I don't see how at all. But I'm trying to approach every day now to go, well, I got to keep going to sustain bills and life but at the same time, I've got to, I'm ready physically, mentally, everything, and, as ready as one can be.
Yeah.
That this spring, summer, I thought we were going to have a bigger loss of aerosol masking by the fall to have us done in, but we avoided that, and now and the sea ice didn't completely melt like we expected, but it's very close, and
Yeah.
I don't see us getting through another spring, summer in the northern hemisphere.
I think those that still are alive in 2022, they're not going to have a nice life.
Right, the living will envy the dead if
Yeah.
there are those alive in beyond spring, summer 2021, I think, and that's truly tragic. But we all basically have that diagnosis from the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a shame that somebody who is so well educated and can literally just show proof is being put down constantly on internet and by internet trolls and I don't know what.
Oh yeah, even people I talk to, people, it's unbelievable, the ignorance, and it's chosen. It's just they just choose the ignorance and the lies and the hope that the science is wrong. And science is always updating and evolving, but on the grand scale, it's never wrong.
But it's, if you're going to check, because like I said already, I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories about the lizard man and the Illuminati and this kind of things, and more recently, or the past 10 years, maybe the flat Earth movement. These people have absolutely no faith in science, and this is also somewhat predictable and understandable, because our politicians are the ones that should basically use science and use that to enhance our lives. But literally every person on this planet instinctively knows a politician lies. So if a politician lied, then probably the scientist must lie as well. The flat earthers blame it on NASA. They constantly think that NASA is lying. So just because NASA is lying, then basically everything that they are advocating must be false. And they're going to do their own research with the most hilarious results. And there's the part that where the belief comes back again, because they believe. There's a big difference between believing and knowing. And most people believe and do not know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Joe, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Is there anything that you that we haven't covered on your end that you want to talk about?
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything, yeah.
And what about, I always have to ask, bucket list. I knowing knowing what I know where you're at and what you know, I'm assuming that you've checked off your bucket list, but
Yeah,
is there anything else? Is there anything left?
there's still some things left, but I probably am not going to do that because I wanted to see the Aurora Borealis one day.
What is that?
The Aurora Borealis, the light spectacle in the sky above the Arctic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That would have
Yeah,
been awesome to see.
my wife really wants, well, my wife and I would love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have loved to go to China someday, but well, basically everything is closed right now, so that's not going to happen either. So my primary bucket list was just to drive, take the bike, drive, and see as many nice pictures that I can find of this planet before I go.
Yeah,
And I think I've succeeded quite well in that.
that's beautiful, man. I love that.
Yeah.
It was, and in some places still is a very beautiful planet. It's hard to accept that that's all going away, but yeah, it's well, Joe, I wish you the best and the happiest in our final days, man. It's been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for talking to me, and thank you for, this is an epic episode, I think, of Collapsing with Casey. So dude, my heart goes out to you for you sharing your story and talking to me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you
And
very much, and it was my pleasure as well.
and I'll hopefully still Zoom with you. Keep caught up
Sure.
and say hello, and you know, see your bright smile, and I want to say, to I don't want it to end, but fuck, dude, it's we're almost there. It's
Yeah, I know.
bizarre.
What was the saying in the Matrix again? Everything that has a start has an end.
Right. Yep. Yeah, we all
And
know
we
it's
will
coming
go
someday.
to the end.
Some of us won't. Well, most of us.
But we will still speak to each other on Zoom other days. So that will be cool.
Yeah, man, I look forward to it.
Thank you very much for the conversation, Joey. It was really nice speaking with you.
Yeah, man, it's a good time. Thank you.